Awesome. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. It's been a long time.
What, like 7 years?
Almost 10.
Oh, almost 10. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually.
Because we graduated 13,
I graduated 14.
14. Okay. But I think, did we have classes in 13 or 12?
I
It's
want to
like,
say probably 12 and 13.
oh, that's right. That's right. Because we did the transpo class and then maybe one other.
Yes. Yep.
Man, time flies.
It really does.
So catch me up. What happened with you since then? Like going through tech, did you stay the engineering track?
I did. So I don't know if you knew this before, but when I had transferred to tech in '09, I had walked on with the basketball team,
Hmm.
and I was on the team for about a year and a half. And then during that process, I changed my major to business. Um, I already had engineering credits from my previous school, Alabama A&M. So when basketball didn't work out, I was pretty much like, okay, well, I'm already far into business. Let me just add civil engineering back. So I was blessed with the opportunity to graduate with both degrees.
Nice.
Um, so that's kind of why I didn't graduate till 2014. But yeah, I mean, it was it was a tough journey, but we
Mhm.
made it through.
Yep.
So that's definitely a blessing. Um, and then after that, I had moved to New York to work for an environmental firm called Arcadis.
Hmm.
So I did that for about a year, and then pretty much kind of like bounced around. And now I'm here in Houston, working for another engineering firm, more focused on flood mitigation in the Houston area.
Mhm.
That's currently what I'm doing now.
Got you. I guess have you been involved with anything like with any of the flooding issues that Houston has had previously or even Louisiana now?
Not necessarily. For this particular job, there's a lot of employees that have different projects in different areas of Houston. So my focus is on a particular area in northwest Houston, called Cypress.
Okay.
So pretty much just trying to um, get all the permits and design work pretty much approved
Mhm.
through what they call as the commissioner's court, since it's a government type project. So once you get that approved, then you can go ahead and do the actual construction process.
Got you.
So that's kind of what my focus on. Like with these projects, they kind of last about 5 to 10 years before it's actually fully complete. So
Right.
that's just something new for me as far as the longevity in it. But it's been interesting.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It's uh whenever you mention Cyprus, I'm like, oh, I know that place because
Oh,
I
you
was
did?
I was in Fairbanks for a little bit. I maybe spent a month in the office that was there because I was with Chicago Bridge and Iron, and
Okay.
they had a fabrication outfit. Well, was it fabrication? It's like they had a fab shop on site as well as an engineering office,
Hmm.
and a lot of the projects they run out of like the South region, like Texas, Louisiana. They basically you'd check in there, and I was supposed to do like a 2 week orientation, but then
Hmm.
2 weeks turned into 1 month. So I kind of got
Oh,
like
wow.
a mini vacation being in Houston, getting to like
Right.
explore a little bit, but then finally shipped out to the site and learn how to build storage tanks from the ground up.
Okay. Man, that's nice.
Yeah. But I guess what's the time frame like before? Were you used to shorter projects or um about the same length?
So before I was working for a construction company, um, it was more so vertical construction, of course, commercial buildings. Um, offices and stuff like that. So with those projects, they'll be anywhere from probably at most a year and a half, depending on the size of the project.
Mhm.
So I was more used to stuff going at that pace. So when um, transitioning to this job, it's kind of like, okay, it's a political type project, so you have to get funding. You got to get approved for funding. You don't get the whole amount that you
Mhm.
need to complete the project. You get it in phases. So all of that is just kind of been just a learning curve for me because, with construction, regular vertical construction is just like, this is the budget.
Yeah,
This is the time frame we want it to be complete. This is pretty much the job that we have to do to get that to that goal. So
that makes sense.
yeah.
The it's funny because I feel like I had something similar. Like I did the construction project
Hmm.
in Louisiana, and then I went to Georgia for a bit, like for 4 years, and there it was kind of like similar to what you're talking about, where it was very government funded. So we
Right.
had like many contracts where it's like, okay, you guys are contracted to do this part of the project. And it's like, well,
Right.
we've got a contract for a few months or like a year.
Hmm.
And like it's hit or miss 1 month whether we're going to stay on or whether we're going to get shipped out because they're not paying for us to stay there. And it's like we're very good at our jobs, but if they want to be tight on the purse, then we got to ship up, pack up, and go. And
Right.
one day they were like, "All right, guys, go ahead, pack everything up because they're not paying. They hadn't been paying for like 9 months, and we're
Oh
almost
wow.
here working for free. So like, pack everything up and get your paperwork together. Make sure you turn it over to the other engineers." And
Hmm.
people were freaking out on the other end. They're like, "Oh my God, where are you guys going? Where are you guys going?" And like
Right.
the the owner of the business, I think Southern Company, since
Okay.
they own like the nuclear site, they're like, "Oh no, wait, like we're gonna figure this out because it had like you have so many people, yet this person has to talk to this person that talks to that person," and it was like they're just like, "No, we'll figure it out. We'll get you guys what you need. Just stay for the day," and then they got the contracts worked out once they kind of got the back house stuff done, but it that red tape is a long process,
Yes, it definitely is.
man. But I know one of the reasons I wanted to catch up with you was to see, of course, how you've been since college and just kind of making the rounds myself, but also I
Yeah.
wanted to hear about your love for music and kind of discuss that a little bit. See,
Okay. Let's see. Um, my love for music is very diverse. I feel like it's becoming more and more diverse as you know, if it's I try to go to a few concerts. I like live music. So it's very cool to hear, artists that are not as big yet and, even biting off from their talent and seeing other people with the similar style. So I can say, of course, I love R&B. I love neo soul. I love certain hip hop.
mhm,
I'm more so on the J. Cole, Kendrick route. I like, rap that kind of is more meaningful and relatable to
yeah,
me or whatever situation I'm around. So I like that. I like other artists like Yeba. I don't know if you heard of her before.
no, I'll
Um,
definitely have to look her up.
she's very soulful. She's actually from Memphis. Um, so just different artists. Sometimes I listen to jazz. It just depends. I'm very big on Soul Action. I don't know if you've heard Soul Action Radio. You should check it out. It's really nice.
Okay,
It's just a mixture of like mellow type music. It's a lot of different like Afro beats, and just different mixtures as well. Because I do like how certain artists and they don't have to be actual artists. They can be like just DJs or something, how they are able to mix different songs together and just have like a nice little tune. So I find myself kind of listening to that a lot. Um, let's see, who's my favorite artist right now? Like R&B, I would like to say her. I really like her style. She can play different instruments and stuff like that, and she's very relatable. So I'm more so with that personal connection. If I have a connection with an artist, I'm more so gonna be listening to them and
Gotcha.
just following their journey. So that's kind of the wave that I'm on right now.
That's awesome. I like that. It's
Yeah.
funny. One of my coworkers, he had me Shazam a song from a video where somebody was like in a barbershop getting their haircut, and it was just playing in the
Uh-huh.
background. And it's I think she's Nigerian, English, uh, if I'm getting that right, but her name is Tim's. And
Yes. I was just
you've
listening
heard
to
of her?
Tim.
Okay. But it's
Yeah, she's nice.
like that vibe that she has, and just like the way she sings, I was like, okay. Like one time I just had to I had to look up the lyrics to her song Free Mind, and I was like,
I
I
was
can
just
dig
listening
this.
to Free Mind. Yes. That one and then her other song called Ice Tea.
Hmm,
If you listen to that again, that's really smooth.
okay.
It's very creative.
I'll have to give that a listen. I listened to Free Mind, and then I started going off of whatever was on that same album, and I was like,
Right.
this really just flows one into the other. And
Right.
I guess what is it for you that really ties you with like the smooth jazz type song, the really laid back? Because I guess a lot of times people might think if you're laid back, you might not be one to get kind of like hype. But I remember
Mhm.
whenever we would meet up in our group, it's like you could play some music, and like it always just gets you in the mood to like just dance and just be like you get your head
Yeah.
bobbing and things like that. And it's like, hey, like everybody can have a good time with music.
Right. So it just depends. Like when we were studying, um, sometimes you need that kind of like that boost of energy, and those more high tempo type songs kind of get you like, okay, cool, I'm here doing this study session, we're working, okay, that's boosting our energy to get the work done.
Mm,
And then there are certain times where like you just want to drive somewhere, you want to listen to something smooth. Okay, I'll transition to, okay, this is the time for me to just listen to something, you know, just think about certain things and just pretty much meditate. It's kind of like a form of meditation for
mm,
me. Um, Music helps me a lot when it's something to where, okay, I'm trying to figure out my next move on certain things. Let me decompress, think about it, but also the music calms me down and lets me think about certain steps I need to take. So that's how I use music. I just use music to kind of help me throughout my days,
that
good
makes
or bad.
sense. Right,
Yeah.
right. That makes sense. There's something to be said about just that like clear mind, being able to change your mood from time to time, but also just keep it like level for the most part.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, a question I always like to ask the guest is this: who do you say you are?
Who do I say I am? Oh, that's a good question. Um, hmm, Dang, that's a good question. I got to think about this for a second. Who do I think I am? This is a good one. I'm literally a blank canvas. And every time or every day I am learning something, and that is adding to my canvas to make me, to mold me into who I am becoming, which I feel like I am flourishing as a young Black woman. I am understanding certain things, and I'm transitioning my mind on certain things that fit me. Um, I feel that um, I'm very understanding, and I my main goal is just to treat people with kindness. Um, just to be open about any opportunity, any blessings that come my way, or anything that I can do to help others. And I feel like um, every day is something added to my canvas that will make me who God wants me to be. So
Mm, I like that.
yeah.
No, I also like that. I was gonna say take your time with it, but I'm learning as I'm doing this more and more to kind of
Mhm,
not say too much all the time and just let people process their thing. And it's helping me to become a better listener, to
mhm.
just be more engaged in the conversation and not try to like fill all the gaps and be like, oh, it's okay, guys. We'll be back intermission. And it's like,
Right.
no, just let things kind of just go as they need to.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all learning like every day. We're learning
Yeah.
something.
What's something that you gained from the year 2020 or 2021?
Um, just the perspective that, you know, time does not wait on you. It's literally going to move regardless of what's going on. Um, and time is very limited. So for me, it's an appreciation of, okay, yes, I want these certain things in my life, which will happen, but I need to learn how to appreciate the now, appreciate where I am in my life, and make the best of the situation, because we can always, look at our situations, whatever the case may be, and say, well, if I wasn't in this situation, I would be here, or vice versa. And it's just kind of like everybody's journey, everybody's path is different. And I feel like especially in 2020, it was literally an opportunity for us to have to sit down and assess where we are, and kind of figure out, okay, who do I want to be as a person? Where do I want to go? But also understanding, like, I am blessed where I am right now. So appreciate it, honor it, do whatever you have to do, and then make those steps to get to where you want to go. But don't be frustrated,
Mm,
because, the time is valuable. Like, enjoy everything as much as possible. Like, don't hold on to negativity as much. Cause I know for me, even before 2020, I was, how we are, like, coming out of tech, we are career oriented. We feel like we gotta be here and we gotta do all this. And it's kind of just sitting back and saying, okay, well, we did the hard part. And
mhm,
this life that we're living is just about figuring out, okay, what works for us and what doesn't, and just going along with that path that God, or whatever other people believe in, going on that path and understanding that it's going to get you somewhere that you never thought you were going anyway. So
mm.
I don't know. It's just more so appreciating the now.
Yeah, I definitely echo that. And um, just I was curious if you had any apprehensions like I did, in kind of resisting the sit down, like the enforced sit down, where it's like um, one one for so long, it feels like at times when things are just going like crazy, you wish you had just like a minute to breathe, like similar, like you're going through classes and things, and it's just like every professor's conspired every week to just be like, oh, we got 4 assignments, 5 assignments due this week, and 5 tests, just in case you're
Yeah,
wondering. But then
yeah,
as soon as you get out of that, you're like, okay, well, all right, not having any more nightmares about tests I didn't take, or for some
right.
reason something happened and then they said I didn't graduate. But now it's okay. I have a second to breathe. I have a second to evaluate my life. So my question is, did you at any point like initially struggle to be like, okay, let me take this time and take advantage of it? Or just like, were you ever in a rush to just, I need to get back to doing something. I gotta be active. I gotta be like on the move, on the go, on the go, on the go.
Um, I did initially. Um, and I want to say this started even before 2020. This was like around um going into 2019. I just felt like I got to do this, I got to do that. And it was becoming a situation where it was messing with my mental health because it was just like I was putting this pressure on me that I didn't need to put on myself. But it's, in a situation where it's like, okay, well, you see other people doing the stuff that you want to do. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, they're doing it. And I feel like I'm not doing enough to get to there. So let me add all of these items to my list and I need to get it done by this certain time. And I think once the quarantine 2020 came around, it was literally like, okay, like this is my list, but I technically can't do it right now because we are on lockdown. So it was more so understanding, like, again, like everybody's journeys was different. So I look at my list that or that pressure that I had, and I'm like, okay, I need to take this off my shoulders. I know it's going to happen, but I need to understand that, okay, there's certain things I need to be prepared for before I even get to that. So let me sit back, understand what's going on, understand what I need to do. And then when that time comes, I'm gonna be prepared for it. So it was just, I mean, it's literally a wake up call,
Yeah,
honestly.
that's awesome. It's funny how much a lot of what you say echoes with me, and just kind of thinking back. I think maybe once we finish up, I'm going to do a solo episode where I kind of just recap what I've learned over the last few years and just kind of
Hmm.
going through this process, because mental health has been a big thing. And I guess a big part of that also feels that it's physical as much as it is mental, where it's like when you're not taking care of your body physically, whether it's sleeping, eating, um, exercising, that type of thing, it really plays tricks on your mind. And
Hmm.
kind of having that balance between, okay, when do I need to just sit my butt down, and when do I need to like push myself a little bit just to be like, let me just get a sweat on, and
Hmm.
just kind of let like take care of the small things, but also just like do the internal work. And I know for me this year it's been good, but the fact that it started like way back before like 2018, kind of looking at things, it's like you kind of riding on a high, and then a few people are lost in the moment and not really processing the loss. Or at least it's like you think you process some things and you kind of just put it in the back of your mind, and then you just keep
Hmm.
working to this pressure, and then finally it's like, well, one thing for me was like needing to go through counseling, and kind of
Hmm.
just like being open to that and saying, okay, well, I could deal with some things personally, and then just address that for myself, and not say rush into a relationship or just be like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, it's it's never gonna work. But it's like, okay, no, like instead of wanting so much to um have someone like you or fall in love with someone, it's like learning to fall back in love with yourself and knowing like what you value, knowing what's valuable about you, and then just being okay with like, well, if things don't work out here, like I'm going to be okay. And
Right.
like putting those boundaries back in line is like, oh, okay, like things aren't as bad as it may have felt before. And now
Right.
I understand like how to value myself more. And it's like crazy thing, the more I value me, the more people tend to like show that respect. And when you easily just tell somebody no, or I'm not comfortable with this, or I don't want to do that, it's like, okay, yeah, so long as you tell me that, that's that I can work with that. But when you're
Right.
just trying to like please and go along, it's like you're trying to manufacture a scenario that doesn't work for me and it's not working for you. And it's like we
Right.
both know something's not right, but if you don't communicate it, who's gonna know?
Right.
But I think that that's been a big a big deal for me, like going from on and off, like, okay, I'm going to talk to this person, then you get nervous, you're like, I don't know if I can trust that person, and then
Hmm.
finally meeting someone that I could trust and communicate with on a regular basis. And like from January through this month, being able to talk virtually and even like within the country, outside the country,
Hmm.
it's been pretty cool. And just
Yeah.
kind of taking that leap to just be like, okay, just put the fear aside because you don't have forever. So get yourself
Exactly.
right and then keep it moving.
Right. And that's funny you said that because I've had to learn, and this was just recently, I had to learn how to put my fear aside on certain things. Cause as women, we have kind of like timetables on what we want to do.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I've had
I
to,
don't know. I'm not a woman, but
yeah,
I know
the
being around women. Yeah.
yes, the common thing about,
Right.
starting family, marriage, all of that. And it's just kind of like, okay, well, it's going to happen when it's going to happen, but make sure that I'm feeding into myself so I can be the best version of myself. And the learning how to get rid of that fear, because like you said, once you get rid of that fear and you put a lot of effort into yourself and time into yourself, you're going to shine regardless of where you're at. You're going to attract people, you're going to attract different energies, and it's going to flow easier because you're learning who you are and you're learning how you want to carry yourself. So it's funny how you said that because that's a similar situation to me. It's just learning how to remove that fear aside and just be the best person I can be, and you know go through with that flow and not feel like I have to meet a certain thing at a certain time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, hmm. Oh, I guess kind of random question, but curious. Since you graduated with your business degree, have you been
Hmm.
able to do anything with it, or have you seen anything differently, like going into the engineering space and kind of being like, oh, okay, this is how things are run from this perspective versus like this perspective?
I honestly haven't. I would want to say that my current role right now, there's a lot of business type management side that I'm working on,
Mhm.
even from like a budgeting aspect for the projects, um, handling all the like the paperwork side. That's a lot of project management type work. Um, but I felt like if I could do it over again, I would have probably did a couple of internships strictly in business
Mhm.
to kind of have that little background to where now in my career it would be an easier transition if I wanted to just be focused on business. I think it's kind of hard right now unless it's more so the project management or the construction type field. But I haven't had that much of a in-depth experience in the business side as
Gotcha.
I would like. So
Gotcha. I was just curious.
Yeah.
because it's funny doing this. My thought was kind of learn how to start a business. I know like a big thing, entrepreneurship seems like all the rant and rave, and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to
Right.
start a business, I'm going to do this. And it's like some people do it well, and other people, like a lot of people can start, but it's like where do you finish, or like how well do you maintain something after some time. So
Right.
it it's good to see how different people pull from things, and even doing this apart from engineering, and kind of like starting it as a hobby but seeing it as like, okay, it's something that I can maintain long term,
Right.
kind of like scheduling a time block for it, and um not having it be like the be all end all. But
Hmm.
even as I've spent maybe a year now away from engineering, it's like, I kind of miss that a little bit. Like sometimes I
I
wonder, I'm
do.
like, do I really want to go back through and look at that? And other times I'm like, a big thing, like sometimes it's like I enjoy the problem solving, but other times it's like the quality or the type of people that you work with. Like when someone in like a management role just feels like they can just come to you and just say whatever to you, or just be like, hey, I need this now. Like get
Right.
get it moving. And it's like, okay, like yeah, I can move, but I'm not a dog, I'm not an animal, don't need to be micromanaged. Like just
Right.
this thing where even now having like a supervisor, and before, where it's like they're just something in their mind. um yeah, I was gonna take it one direction, but I was like, no, I'm gonna leave that alone. But it's like something in their mind just gives them this feeling that, okay, if I sit here and stare at you, or if I'm quote unquote observing you, then it'll motivate you to work harder. It'll move you, it'll scare you. It's like, no, if you think you're just gonna come around and scare your employees into working, like nobody's gonna stick around long, or you're not
Right.
gonna stick around much longer than you have been, because like I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing, like seeing that, and also studying psychology, and kind of getting a better understanding of why I do things, and having an idea of why people have certain behaviors, or why they display certain things, like the pressures that they feel and what they're observing. It's like, oh, okay, like you do what you need to do. I'm not going to judge
Mhm.
you. I might understand what you're doing, but I'm just going to focus on what I need to do. And then if there's an issue, or if there's a question, I might find a way to like approach you, or I'm just going to let you like open your mouth and say something. I'm not going to try to read your thoughts and be like, well, maybe they're thinking this, or maybe they're
Mhm.
thinking that. It's like, no, I'm going to work. I'm going to do what I need to do. And then if you find it within yourself to speak up, like maybe you will.
Right. That is so true.
But you got anything else?
Um, I don't.
Gotcha.
I
You
I enjoyed this podcast, so it was very
likewise.
it was very cool.
Oh, what's something you're looking forward to in 2020? Because this will probably be out like January or February.
In 2022,
Yeah, 2022. My bad. I'm going back a year instead of forward.
um, what am I looking for? Hmm. I mean, I don't want it to sound cliche, but it just growth. Um, just just reaching a better, well, another layer of myself. Um, I'm trying to purchase a house, so that's kind of one of my goals going into next year. Um, having some kind of equity of my own. I think
Mhm.
that's a priority for me at this stage, and just overall, just Um, just making sure that I'm feeding into myself so I can make myself as happy as possible. So it's all about happiness from now on. Like in anything that I do, um, anybody that's in my life, just trying to maintain that happiness because life is short, time is limited, and it's just kind of like while we're young. And I felt like over the past couple days, I've been talking to like older people, and they've been pretty much saying the same thing.
Mhm.
This is your time to do whatever you want, whatever you have said, or even whatever you think, oh, it might be cool to do this. This is the time to do it because you don't want to be older and regret certain stuff you didn't do because you were scared or, just certain things. So I feel like going into 2022, it's just, I need to just go ahead and do stuff. Like, hey, if I want to learn, if I want to draw something, all right, go ahead and do that. So just certain stuff like that, just making sure I am taking advantage of the time that I have.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for the time. And it's always a pleasure to catch up with you.
No problem. Thanks, Asher. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care, Erica.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.